Hi, I'm Elizabeth and welcome back to my channel. Today's a bit change of pace to usual, just because I'm going to be quite honest. I think that this is what this whole video is going to be, is just my mental health has just been a bit shit this week, and I think a bit is putting it lightly. I was very close to not filming a video this week and just being like, no, like I can have a week off because I'm doing this for my own fun, but I thought, I am doing this for my own fun, so why should my own mental health, lack of motivation, and the fact my room is a fucking shithole stop me from filming? So I thought it'd only be fitting if today I just kind of talk about my mental health and talk about where I'm at, my whole experience with my own mental health, and finding my own coping strategies and stuff like that. And yeah, just talking about it and telling anyone that's watching about it. So yeah, just want to preface this as well though. If anyone out there that's watching does suffer badly with mental health or any of the things I'm covering, I do think you should seek mental health and not seek anything that I say, because it is all just my own experiences, my own coping strategies that work best for me, and I'm not saying that they will in effect work for anyone out there, unfortunately. So I just thought, yeah, I better pop that out there just so everyone knows. So a trigger warning, I will be talking a lot about suicide or suicidal thoughts and self-harm, just so anyone that does get triggered by talking about it or anything like that, feel free to just switch off. I understand it's not for everyone, just yeah. But yeah, so I've been suffering personally with my mental health since I was about 10. I'm 21 now, but yeah, since I was about 10 I was still in primary school, and I don't know, I had a longingness, kind of sense of hopelessness. When I was younger, I was in my household wasn't the best. I love my family and I love my parents and everything now, but they were in a very toxic relationship, and I think my toxic relationship with my family just didn't help when I was younger. So yeah, when I was 10 I first tried to kill myself. Quite plainly, I tried to kill myself. It wasn't very a successful attempt, and I think as an attempt goes, it wasn't going to be successful. I don't think I fully knew what I was doing at that point. I just knew that I wanted the pain to end and that I wasn't happy. So I tried to smother myself, which wasn't going to work. Your body does fight back. So my family did end up finding out about that. So when I was younger, I spent a lot of time with my nan. She was basically my best friend. And sorry, I'm right next to my window, so the cars are going to be even louder than normal. But yeah, she was basically my best friend. I spent a lot of time there when I was younger. And yeah, so my family ended up finding out, and in my primary school there was like a counsellor kind of person, but I wouldn't really say she was a counsellor. And I ended up spending a lot of time having to have sessions outside of classroom with her, talking through my feelings, talking through where my head was at, and that's where it kind of started. I'd say that kind of feeling of helplessness and hopelessness kind of carried through quite a lot when I was younger, up until when I went to high school. And as a bigger person going into high school, like high school anyway is terrifying, but going to high school, I've like, as a bigger person, I've always been big, added with the mental health and my anxiety, it was just awful. Like when I was younger, my anxiety was bad, but it wasn't as bad as what it's kind of developed over the years to become. But it was awful. And yeah, I'm surprised that like for my first few couple of years of high school, I didn't have many flare-ups with my mental health. You'll also probably hear me talk about it as like being bad. So when growing up, the way me and my family used to associate my mental health going bad would be I'm getting bad again, or I'm going bad, something like that. And to be fair, that's probably not the best connotation of the words, because that kind of assumes that I'm being bad, and it's just not the case. Like, I can't control what's up there, but it's just how like me and my family like kind of spoke of it, or when I would speak of it to them. But yeah, and then when I was 12, so little year 8, my parents split up, and it was awful. I think a lot of people talk about how separation always affects children, and it really does. Like, it, as I speak for myself, it proper kind of fucked me up a little bit at the time. I didn't have the best relationship with my mum at that point. I have amazing relationships with both my parents, and I don't hold anything that happened against them whatsoever. But I didn't have the best relationship with my mum, and I stayed with my mum. Like, me and my brothers, we all lived with my mum. My mum and dad split up, and my dad went and lived with my nan. And then my nan had cancer. The one that was like my best friend, she had cancer and ended up dying when I was 12 as well. Literally, I think it was like maybe half a year after my parents split up. So 2012, 2012 was a fucking shite year, and I think that just put the wheels in motion for my own mental health to just plummet entirely. Like, the whole smother myself was kind of like something that my brain had kind of just thought was normal, and kind of just, it went under the rug a little bit when I went into high school. But being 12, 13, my parents separating, my nan dying, it just kind of kicked everything up again for me, and that was when I started self-harming. Yeah, I don't really know what much to say. I don't even know if this is going to be like, it's just me talking about my own mental health, and I don't think that's going to help anyone, but I'm still just going to talk about it because maybe I'll find some solace in it. So yeah, I started self-harming when I was about 13, and it was awful. Like, they weren't deep wounds, they were very superficial, and I had a lot of people tell me I was attention seeking. I had people that were very close to me that their opinions probably shaped me into who I am as a grown woman. And yeah, being told you're attention seeking is one of the most horrible things ever to be told when you're in such a low point. Just because they're not a deep wound doesn't mean it is not severe. Like, that was really the pinnacle of me harming myself and harming my mind and my physical self, and being told that was attention seeking was intense. It didn't help the fact that people at school would also suss it out, and like, I remember vividly this one time there was these girls and they were sat near me in science, and I remember them saying, "Oh, she's such an attention seeker," and that paired with my anxiety just did not help whatsoever. Like, I ended up not becoming friends with them, but I ended up speaking to them a bit later on in school, and I don't think they were being malicious, or maybe it wasn't about me, but it just doesn't help. Like, I fully thought they're calling me attention seeking, and then it just got fully in my brain that everything I do from this point on is attention seeking, and I feel like that's probably something that's had a very lasting effect on me. So if you ever think about saying that to anyone, please fucking stop. Just, it's not worth it. The sort of psychological trauma that causes somebody is horrific. Like, I still question to this day, is my mental health something that I am making up? Is it just I have convinced myself that I am ill, and it is, like, that is the reason why I'm ill? Like, even now, like, when I get bad and have bad days, I'm like, am I really bad? Or is it just an attention-seeking strategy? And it's just, it fucks me up. It still fucks me up. And I was 13 when that happened. I'm now 21. And I just, it stuck with me for the long haul, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, and then I was 14 when court proceedings went on, and I ended up moving in with my dad. And it made a lot of things better at the time. Like, you know, that momentness of happiness, like, is like, yes, this overwhelming, I feel good, this is amazing, this is the one thing I've always wanted, and I've got it. But I guess when you are depressed, it just, that one change of circumstances doesn't always fix it. So yeah, and then I was about 15 when I started overdosing. And I feel that's probably a very weird way of wording that, but yeah, it became something where every couple of weeks, maybe months, I would overdose. So it became quite bad. I was harming myself quite a lot within that as well. So I ended up going to hospital quite a lot, and I'd miss school a bit, like, and yeah, life just was not good. It was rather shit, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, so I got put on antidepressants when I was 15, got put on fluoxetine, and in my head I was like, oh, this is gonna fix me. I am gonna be able to be happy. My anxiety won't flare up when I walk into a room. I'll be able to walk places by myself because I won't be scared. For me personally, it just didn't work. But then again, I had the wrong mindset to think that it was going to fix me. Medication alone will not fix your problems. You need to also seek, like, actual help. So I did. Well, I'm just saying it all wrong. So at 15, I was on medication, and I was also under the care of C.A.L.Ls. I feel like probably, if you're from England, everyone knows C.A.L.s. They can be good, or they can be a pile of shit. Personally, I just don't think CBT therapy, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, worked on me. I've been in and out of therapy since I was 15, and I can wholly say that I just don't think it worked. Like, fair enough, I know some strategies now. When I'm self-harming, write on myself with red pen, hold an ice cube till it melts, and if the urge is still there, then yeah. But personally, I just don't think that worked for me. But yeah, and then the feelings kept going. The summer I left school, I had a lot of fun with my friends, and I had a lot of plans made. I had my prom, I went to Reading Festival, I had concerts to go to in that, I think it was the August time. But I think in those 2 months was the 2 months where I tried to commit the most. So much so me and my dad had a code word when I thought I was going to do something, which was fire truck. So if he was at work and I was like really, really bad, and I did actually reach out for help that time, I would say fire truck, or if I'd done something then I would say fire truck, and we'd go and seek help. So they upped my medication dosage, and then I went to college, and for the first couple of months it was okay, and then it wasn't. I feel like that is the common trend with me. I'll be okay for a couple of months, and then a flare-up will happen, and then it doesn't seem to go away. My support worker in college, I used to think that I had seasonal depression, because I was like, well, I only get bad certain months of the year. Like, every December I will get really, really ill with my mental health, and it's just kind of a trend that's followed me since my nan died, and I think it probably is because she died in December. So I used to just think it was like kind of seasonal depression, but then you gotta think, like, she'd always point out that, well, no, because then I'm bad again. My mental health stays bad until we're in May time, June, and then I'm good again for 3 months, and then I go bad again. And I just feel like I just always used to think it's such a vicious cycle, and when will this kind of hopelessness and wanting to die end? I wouldn't be able to look at, like, you know, what are they called? Blinds. The blind strings used to trigger me a lot, because all my mind would be thinking is, I can do something with that, I can do something with that. And it used to be the same with like phone chargers, laptop chargers, anything I could get my hands on that I knew I could inflict pain or potential end the pain, so to say. It would just make my mind overthink, and it used to be like that all the time. And I feel like a lot of people always talk about how you get those ideations of like ideations of like, you're on a bus, you want the bus to crash, but you want you to die but everyone else to survive. Like, I used to long for car crashes and being hit by cars and just really traumatic incidents. I used to wish for them, like beg for them, but not for everyone else, just for me to be harmed in that. And that used to be quite a common thought that would go through my head when I wasn't actively trying something. And it just progressively got a lot, like, it got worse and worse and worse until about the April time in my first year of college. So I was about 16 still, and I had to drop out because I was in and out of hospital a lot, and I wasn't going to college. My motivation was just like, fuck that, I can't do it anymore. And I feel like it happens quite a lot for me. I go hold my hands back and I'm like, no, I can't do it, and I'll run away from it. I'll run away from the things that are causing me pain. So I left college, and for a while we had to have quite a lot of talks with the professionals about whether I needed to be admitted into hospital, like at the special hospitals or not. And thankfully I never had to. I just had someone come round and take me for a coffee and make sure that I wasn't doing anything every day. So all my friends were out going to parties, and I had a lady come round and make me a cuppa. And then that oh my gosh, when I dropped out of college that time, my anxiety went through the roof. I still struggle now to walk anywhere by myself. It sounds really stupid, and it's not like a fear of like anything happening to me. It's just when people look at me on the street, I get really, really anxious, and I have a lot of panic attacks. When just the thought of me walking by myself somewhere and not feeling the protection of like when you're with somebody, just makes my blood kind of go through the roof. And And that heightened so much more when I left college, because all I thought was, everyone is staring at me, everyone knows I am a college dropout, and I've become a failure. And that is like one thing that I've always struggled to come to terms with, is being a failure, so to say, or failure to my own expectations. Uni used to be the biggest dream of mine, was that I wanted to go to uni, and I knew exactly what uni I wanted to go to, and that was the goal, and anything other than that would not do. And my mind just couldn't hack that sometimes not going to university didn't mean failure, it just meant like you're taking a different path. And I struggled with that for a very, very long time, and it's still something that I'm struggling with now, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, so I left college. I'd meet up with my friends and I'd have panic attacks because none of them had seen me in ages, and I kind of just withdrew. Didn't do anything, didn't leave my bed. The pandemic, I'd have probably welcomed it at that point. But yeah, and then I went back to college in the September because I was like, I'm fine again, because it was the summer months, and I thought, yes, I am great, I can go to college again. And I hacked it for like a year, and then I was 3 months away from my exams, and I thought, no, I can't do it, I can't do this. My mental health had been awful again, I was overdosing again, and yeah, it was awful, like really horrible. In between that time period, I had horrible comments made to me as well from people, basically about my mental health, saying that I'm being selfish, and if I was to act on anything and it caused something else to happen to anybody else in my life, it would be my fault. And yeah, but yeah, then I dropped out again, and I've been working full-time since. Working full-time, I'd say it kind of didn't fix me. My anxiety still goes through the roof, and I still get really, really bad. And I thought, oh, I'm fine again. But so yeah, no, actually, yeah, because my last suicide attempt was December 2017. I took an overdose and I was in hospital on a drip for a while. So 10 out of 10 would not recommend. I think it was the most frightening one time for me. I think all my other ones hadn't been as, like, not serious, but it hadn't had such an effect on my body. And it was awful. I was in hospital for, yeah, about a week, trying to keep it a secret from the people I worked with, keeping it a secret from the people at my college at that point, because I was still in college. I dropped out of the college in 2018. And yeah, I remember people got angry with me in college because I had a drama group, like, that we had to do work for, and I was off college for about 2-3 weeks because of it, because my mental health just was not there whatsoever. And oh, they were so mad at me, and I remember just thinking, I failed them. And then one of them saw me out in public, and they thought I'd just been fanny arsing about for 3 weeks and lying, but, like, no, I was really ill, like, I just, yeah. So that was my last suicide attempt, which I am still immensely proud of myself for. Like, I always used to think that, oh, if not by this date, if I'm not happy by this date, I'll kill myself. And I used to give myself deadlines on when to be happy by, and it just never works, because that isn't how happiness works, or it goes, because one day you can be happy, one day you can't. Like, it's just the way the cookie crumbles. I don't like that phrasing, but it's what we're using. And I'm really, really, really happy with myself for not going down that pathway anymore. I still have a lot of thoughts, like about wanting to die sometimes, but that is one thing that I feel like as I've gotten older I've stopped acting upon, which is really good. It's just other stuff in my life that I need to thingy. So I dropped out of college, been happy since. I haven't been happy since. My overall mood and my lifestyle and stuff like that, I'd say, has improved. And I'm better than I was when I was a teenager. But I think it's something that my mind has learned to control. Like, I know that this feeling is passing. It doesn't help when I have really bad like compulsions and stuff like that. So like I have really, really obsessive thoughts a lot, and it'll like sometimes I ache to jump out of a window just so I can feel what it's like, just because I have that urge. I have this really bad urge to jump out of one. And I get that with quite a lot of things, and I think it's just me having to learn that it's a passing thought, it's an urge right now, but it's not something that I'm still going to have the urge to do in an hour's time. And I just need to take a step back and kind of like breathe. But yeah, in terms of self-harming, it's something that I still sometimes struggle with, I will be honest. It's not like I used to be when I was a kid though. When I was younger, it used to be my only source of happiness. Not happiness, but my only outlet. And I'm really kind of good at like not actively going to that the minute I'm sad anymore. It's just sometimes my brain will go, you need to feel some pain, you need to feel the pain, because I'll just feel so numb and hopeless, and it's the pain that I want, like that sort of pain. And I need, that is something that I'll be honest, I need to learn my coping strategies for, because it just is still something that my brain is like, do it, and I have to be like, no. But yeah, but where I'm at now, so lockdown has been an experience, I'll be honest. Last December, so not 2020 December, December 2019, my mental health was in the shitter, I'll be honest. I was awful, and that kind of followed me through until about summer last year. But I'll be honest, my life has been all right kind of since. Like I've been more confident with myself. Like doing this YouTube, I never thought I'd be in a position where I would actually post one because my anxiety does not allow that. And the fact that I'm actually here recording videos, something that I wanted to do for so long, is just overwhelming. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, I'd say my down days are a lot less than what they used to be. When I am down, usually I can do the right things to get myself out of it. So for me, usually I have to listen to music. Music is the one thing for me that will calm me down. If I'm having a panic attack, watching a YouTube video or music helps me. It is what makes me feel better. and it just kind of makes me centre to myself again. Otherwise I usually quite struggle. But yeah, I'm still having some down days, I'll be honest, but the happy days outweigh the down days, and that is something that I've had to try and keep thinking about this week. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I just thought I'd give my mental health history. I don't know why. I don't know what help this will do to anyone. Maybe if it just means somebody speaks out and talks to somebody, that is always a great thing. I think you can never have too much mental health exposure. I think the stigmatism of talking about mental health has dramatically reduced since when I was younger. But I still think there is a long way to go. I think mental health is still romanticised a fuck ton, if that be on social media or anything. I think people feel great to share posts about it and do that, but people won't feel good enough to reach out. And I understand, because it's something where inside you feel like it harbours a lot of shame. Like, why am I unhappy? There is no reason for me to be unhappy. Everything in my life is good, so why am I not smiling? But at the end of the day, it's an illness, and it is nothing to be ashamed about, like, at all. And I think when more people become more of accepting of their own mental health and being able to reach out for that, the better. But yeah, so if this video even doesn't inspire anyone, but it leaves someone thinking in their brain about the people around them, about being more conscientious of their words and the lasting effect it can have, or it does inspire someone to reach out and get help, because I think that is something that I've not really talked much about in this video, is that, yeah, CAMHS it didn't help me, but reaching out and having that support network of my friends and my family around me helped me a lot. And it still helps me to this day, that my friends are always there for me. My family are always there for me. And I know that no matter what happens, my family and my friends will always have my back. And I think sometimes it can feel really lonely, and it can feel horrible and isolating having bad mental health. But I think when you open yourself up to your friends and your family, that is when sometimes it can feel a little bit less lonely, and it can feel a little bit better. But yeah, I don't really have much more else to say. If you did enjoy this video, I don't think many people will, if you're still here, please like. If you want to see more stuff from me, probably won't usually be like this. I just fancied talking about it, I'm not gonna lie. I felt like shit, and I just wanted to talk about where I've come from, like where my journey has taken me with my own mental health. But yeah, if you liked it, then yeah, obviously subscribe, like, and then yeah, subscribe if you want more. I do also have social media, I'll put that in a link below. But other than that, have a lovely day. Goodbye.